Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. Previously, Bai was accepted as a disciple to become an immortal. In the immortal realm, Bai would discover that his chosen walk is able to double the power of anything he puts in it. However, he loses some lifespan when he does. Later, Bai wins a tournament that allows him to enter the sacred lands, but finds that competition there is fierce. The story continues just after Bai has entered the fallen sword abyss. Unfortunately, swords are unable to fly inside, but Bai has come prepared. He manages to land safely and determines that his first course of action is to quickly gather Earth Ki. Just then, Bai is shocked to find that he is attacked by a fiend beast. Li had once explained that these creatures are born from the absorption of the surrounding Earth Ki. Once Bai defeats the beast, he finds that it has provided him with his first drop of earthly vein Ki. He announces as loudly as he can that all fiend beasts should offer their Ki to him so that he can fill his bottle. When he does, he can induce the condensation of earthly vein Ki and start foundation establishment. Unfortunately for Bai, an entire hour has passed and no other beast has come, making him feel like filling his entire bottle will be impossible. Just then, Bai feels the earth shake and finds that the disciples he helped get into the fallen sword abyss are gravely injured and poisoned. They warn him to run away as it is a trap, but it's too late as poisonous gas fills the air. Bai is able to determine the exact plants used to create it though and stops the attack just before it's too late. The disciples ask that Bai just run away, but he doesn't. He gives them pills to suppress the poison and teleports them back to get healed. Just then, someone compliments Bai on being a medicinal genius for deciphering the poison's formula. This person was clearly behind the poisonous attack, and Bai condemns the man for using innocent disciples as bait to attack him. The man simply states that the weak are merely prey for the strong, and goes in for another attack, but Bai defends it with a wetland technique. This buys him just enough time to cure the poison, but then finds himself having to brace for impact when Wan comes barreling towards him. She doesn't want to be touched by him, but then is also disappointed when he lets go of her. Just then, Bai is glad to see that she was being chased by spiritual beasts, since this is his chance to gain more earthly vein Ki. The man behind the poison attack is revealed to be Fang Lin, and he determines that the information he received was false, since Bai is much stronger than reported. We then see that Bai is exhausted after defeating the fiend beast, but determines that it was worth it since the beast earned him a large drop of earthly vein Ki. He is then shocked to hear that the beast was the one that actually came after her, since Bai had been wandering around without encountering a single one. He nobly declares that he will protect her from now on, but she still dislikes him from their past encounters. She attempts to leave, but Bai follows her and explains that everything he did in the past was simply an accident. Furthermore, the fiend beasts are far too dangerous for her to fight alone, and some disciples are trying to sabotage other participants. Wan agrees to let him follow at a distance, and Bai explains that he needs to continue collecting Ki just as we see that someone is watching them. Sometime later, we get a glimpse of how the other participants are doing as they battle fiend beasts. However, nearby, we see that a group isn't fighting the beasts at all, and are instead killing other participants and taking their bottles of Ki. Back with our pair, Bai explains that he needs some time to figure out why the fiend beasts are so attracted to Wan. He asks that she trusts him, but she thinks he might be messing with her. Bai goes on to explain that the beasts are extremely powerful, but their eyes have deteriorated a long time ago. This leaves only two explanations, and Bai has figured out a genius plan to determine which it is. The strategy is to use a sock from one of the elders, which he explains no living being can bear to smell. Wan thinks his idea is ridiculous, but Bai explains that the beast's lack of reaction to the sock means that they don't rely on their sense of smell to detect things. Instead, they must be drawn to the cultivator's spiritual energy, and Wan's spiritual energy must be more enticing. Their investigation is over, and Wan uses her ability to save Bai from an attack. However, just then, they are told by a man named Li Shan to hand over their bottles of earthly vein Ki. The pair are in trouble as they are completely surrounded, but are shocked to find that a monstrous sandstorm is approaching. Li Shan flees, but vows to come back for Bai's Ki eventually, and we see that a person riding a beast is still watching them. Just then, Bai falls into a sand trap and finds himself and Wan in what appears to be a cave. After surveying the area, Bai determines that there is no way out, and he points out how everything has gone horribly bad since he ran into Wan. Bai was especially shocked by the monstrous sandstorm, and Wan points out that it was a fiend spirit. Bai recalls being told by Li that fiend spirits are the most terrifying beings in the entire fallen sword abyss, and that he should run if he ever encounters one. It is said that these creatures are not of this world, and are actually trapped inside the fallen sword itself. They have fused with the earthly vein Qi and have become extremely frightening monsters. They madly crave spiritual energy, and once they get close to a living person, they will suck them dry. Just then, the two can sense something in the distance and go to investigate. Bai is worried that it might be a fiend spirit and tells Wan that he will protect her no matter what, but she points out how difficult that would be since he is hiding behind her. Things become a bit too quiet as something startles them, and Bai notices the fear in Wan's eyes as she stares at him. He fears something is sucking him dry and notices an egg on his head. The two panic as Wan attempts to destroy the thing, but Bai ends up getting the worst of the damage. Wan plans to use her ultimate attack to finally get rid of it, but Bai asks for mercy as he can't take any more hits from her. Moments later, the egg returns and the two realize that it can't be a fiend spirit since the egg shows no signs of aggression. The thing has calmed down ever since Bai held onto it, almost as if it is approving of him. Bai decides to give it a face since fate has brought them together and given them the bond of adopted father and son, just as he decides to name it Tidan. Wan wants Bai to focus on what to do about the fiend spirit outside, but Bai asks that she remain calm since he already has thought of a plan. Wan is disappointed to see that Bai is just refining some stupid pill since they have bigger issues to deal with. He ignores her to continue refining, but it doesn't go well and finds himself in a bad spot. Bai explains that he was just protecting her from the explosion, and reveals that he was refining a pill that can attract the fiend beasts. He is simply focused on filling his bottle with Qi so he can reach Foundation establishment, but Wan explains that his first attempt at refining the pill nearly buried them. Bai points out that the cave is very sturdy since no earth has fallen, but is proven wrong once again when the roof cracks. It gets worse, so Bai asks that Wan not yell, and she curses the fiend beast for being the reason she has to be stuck there with Bai. The cave begins to collapse even more, and Bai gives up all hope as he explains that their lives are going to end and the two of them will have to continue their great friendship in the next life. Luckily, the two manage to survive and climb their way out of the cave opening made by the collapse. They have ended up in a strange place, and Wan points out how Bai doesn't seem to want to leave as he might be interested in finding the fiend spirit. Bai notices that the Qi in his bottle has decreased and is certain that there isn't a leak. Wan considers it to just be his bad luck, but Bai ignores her to continue refining a pill that will attract a large number of fiend beasts. Wan plans to leave him, but Bai warns that he won't be able to protect her from the countless fiend beasts like earlier, not to mention the terrifying fiend spirit. She agrees to just give him a small amount of time, and Bai guarantees that his next attempt will work. Elsewhere, Jin Dao is met by Song, who demands that he give up his bottle of Qi. Jin Dao prepares to defend himself, but a weather disturbance stops the altercation. Others nearby wonder if this means a supreme treasure has appeared somewhere, and we see that it is being caused by Bai's refining. Wan can't believe he is able to cause such a huge disturbance, and Bai points out how gifted and intelligent he is after finishing his pill. Wan wishes he would be more humble and has her wish granted when an hour passes with no fiend beasts in sight. Moments later, the two prepare themselves as a fiend beast approaches. Song and Jin Dao are shocked to see that the normally hard to find fiend beasts have grouped together and chase after them as it is the perfect opportunity to collect tons of earthly vein Qi. Several other disciples would notice the same, and Bai states that Wan must surely believe in the strength of his pill refining now as they are surrounded by an absurd amount of fiend beasts. The beasts begin their attack and the two defend themselves well, but Bai becomes frustrated when the Qi in his bottle hardly increases. Wan decides to go on ahead to Foundation establishment without him, and Bai tries to follow but finds that the beasts are only wanting to go after him. With nowhere left to run, Bai decides it's time to fill his bottle with Qi, and kills all the fiends within a 100-mile radius. Bai's bottle is finally full, but he is shocked when Fang Lin appears and takes it from him. However, Song shows up to take it from Fang Lin, and Bai wonders why they are ganging up on him. He is then shocked to see that they are actually fighting each other for his bottle, and his first attempt at taking it back fails. He gets a second shot at it, but finds that the pill he refined seems to still be attracting fiend beasts. Bai has the genius idea to use the pill to have the fiend beasts attack the others, but stops when he sees that Wan is thrown behind him. Everyone is then shocked to see that the one who threw her is actually a little girl, and wonder what a child is doing in the fallen sword abyss. They realize that she is actually a fiend spirit, and Wan blames Bai's pill for attracting it. Bai's smokescreen allows everyone to escape for the time being, but the girl calls out to Bai so that he can come play with her. Bai does his best to hide, but the girl pursues him relentlessly. He finds a moment to escape, but is then confronted by Li Shan and his group. Li Shan demands Bai's bottle once again and promises to leave Bai's corpse intact if he complies. Bai notices that the air is still cold and wonders if the girl is still nearby. He pretends to agree to give up the key from his bottle, but throws the refined pill into Li Shan's mouth and runs away. The girl is interested to see that Bai has fed the man the pill, and we see that Bai has run as far as he could. He is determined to reach Foundation establishment and get out of there as soon as possible, since he is sure the girl won't be able to follow him out. She appears before him though, and Bai must once again run away. Elsewhere, Li Shan's group looks for Bai as they discuss how he is famous for being treacherous and cunning. They think they have found Bai after he changes his clothes, but after beating on him for a while, the poor guy reveals that he is actually Yi Zhang from the Bloodstream sector. Nearby, the girl has once again caught up to Bai and he begs her to look for someone else as he is very busy. He is then shocked to see Li Shan, but notices something is different about him, and the girl explains that she has turned him into her puppet. The girl attacks Bai using her new toy, but stops when Bai agrees to play with her. He explains that they will be playing hide and seek, so she should go hide from him to find her. The girl agrees to play, but decides that she will be the one seeking Bai, and if she finds him, then he will have to become her puppet. The instant she begins her countdown, Bai sprints away as fast as he can. Nearby, Song finds the aftermath of the girl's rampage, and notices that she eliminated Li Shan's group with no care for their bottles of Qi. Bai flies by him, and Song acknowledges how the fiend spirits seem to be drawn to Bai. Song's bottle is full of Qi though, so he has no reason to stay and prepares to head towards Foundation establishment. Moments later, Bai is easily found by the girl, but he attempts to flee, explaining that he wasn't ready. The girl won't give him another chance though and reminds Bai of their agreement. She begins to take Bai's life, but he reveals that he hasn't lost yet and summons his cauldron. It causes massive destruction, but the girl is unfazed and explains that she is having more fun than ever. Bai uses pills to create another smokescreen, and the girl asks that he hide better this time. Elsewhere, a man named Shan demands another disciple's Qi bottle, but his threats are interrupted by the fleeing Bai. Shan's artifact is able to detect that Bai has filled his bottle with Qi, and Shan chases after him as we see that the disciple is convinced that the Admiral Bai sacrificed himself to save him. Nearby, Bai is exhausted and determines that if he doesn't give the girl his last pill, then she will surely continue chasing him. But if he does give her the pill, then she will surely take his life. His thoughts are interrupted though when Shan arrives to explain how he is the famous genius puppet Razor, and owner of countless artifacts. Bai has no clue who he is, which shocks Shan, but he still demands that Bai give him the key he has collected. Bai just gives him an empty bottle though, and Shan is startled by the fiend spirit. Bai explains that he attempted to put the scent of his pill on the bottle, but the girl has seen right through his plan. She attempts to attack Bai, but Bai is amazed to see that Shan's ancient jade is able to restrain fiend spirits. Shan doesn't want to be near anyone that attracts fiend spirits like Bai, and Bai mocks the famous genius for being so scared. Bai threatens to never leave him alone unless Shan gives up his jade pendant, but Shan defends himself with a powerful attack. Bai easily blocks it with his divine shield, but Shan then uses his ancient jar of worm poison and bloodwood coffin. The coffin is created from the bloodthirsty dead tree, and once someone is imprisoned by it, they'll be drained into a carcass instantly. The jar on the other hand contains 100 types of toxic poisons, brewed in heaven-reaching water for 10 years, and just one drop will instantly turn someone into a pool of black water. Bai pretends to fear Shan, but reveals that he is not the only one with precious treasures. Shan is amazed to see that Bai is wealthier than he is, but explains that he anticipated this outcome after studying Bai earlier. Bai then shows him a knife that he claims to have been made from refined iron from the Path Cultivation Mountain's peak, and it once sliced countless supreme quality ingredients on an ancient chopping board. Shan points out that it is just a cooking tool, as his little helper attempts to take Bai's pouch. Unfortunately for him, the little corpse is knocked out cold, and Bai explains that his pouch is spirit refined, so it will harm those that don't handle it properly. The two then go back and forth, showing off their rare and unique artifacts. This would go on for hours, but Bai finally ends it by showing his sword that he has spirit refined 3 times, and astonishes Shan with several others. Shan explains that he has never submitted to anyone before, and gives Bai the jade pendant. Bai is grateful and allows Shan to keep all the swords, but Shan runs to his side when the fiend spirit returns. Bai confidently uses the jade pendant, but it fails him. They are just about to be attacked when Shan reveals another piece to the pendant and the fiend spirit is successfully repelled. Bai is grateful for Shan's help and out of gratitude explains that he should throw out the swords he gave him since he coated them in a toxic powder. Shan leaves feeling betrayed and Bai warns the girl not to follow him when he leaves. Elsewhere, Song comes closer to his destination and proclaims that he will certainly be the first to reach Foundation establishment. Nearby, we see that Bai is also heading to the same area, as he laments how they are now able to use their swords to fly in the Fallen Sword Abyss. He takes a quick break, but is extremely upset to see that the bottle he is certain was full just minutes ago is now completely empty. Bai notices that the key is going into his pouch, and is shocked to see that Tidon has been consuming all the earthly vein ki. Bai disciplines the egg as he explains that it's the father's fault if the child isn't well taught. Bai demands that Tidon spit out all the earth ki, but shocks Bai when the little egg burns his father's beautiful hair instead. Bai determines that he must use his most powerful move, which is begging. He states that he has taken care of the egg the best he could, and begs that Tidon not cut off his path to Foundation establishment. Something happens to the egg and we see that Song is nearby doing something as well. Onlookers are amazed to see that someone has already activated the tide so soon, and Song calls upon the power of the tide. He proudly awaits the power, but it goes somewhere else, and he is surprised to see that Bai is the actual recipient. Thanks for watching part 10, 6,000 likes and I'll know you want a part 11. Also, all other parts are in the pinned comment below.